Welcome to Spiritual Changemakers, the podcast that guides you through tough times with practical tools and inspiring stories. I'm Andrea Thomas, your host and the Sacred Transitions Coach. Join us as we hear from spiritual changemakers who have connected with their higher power and overcame adversity. Whether you are navigating a difficult transition or seeking to deepen your spiritual practice, our podcast provides guidance to help you find magic in the change. Come on this journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and transformation with us and unlock your potential to become your best self. Welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome to a new podcast episode on Spiritual Changemakers. Today I have my friend, Jessica Lewan. Luan, close,
Yep.
close. And we were just chatting. We haven't connected now in quite a few years, probably around 4 years or so. We got to meet in a group coaching program. And we also met in person at the event in Scottsdale. So it was really fun. And I would say this is a beautiful catch up for us. See what she has been up and share her wisdom, because ever since I met her, I was like really impressed. I'm like, wow, she's such a badass woman, like she's a single mom, a business owner, and I just want her to share with all of you, how did she just made it all happen, especially as a single mom? And that's really something I would love for us to dive deeper into. And just for those that are listening, to have a little bit of an idea who Jessica is. She is a licensed esthetician. She's an entrepreneur and a personal development coach. And she's the founder of the Body Bar 307 and the creator of the Simplify to Grow journal. And Jessica brings over 20 years of experience in the beauty and wellness industry, and she helps women reconnect with themselves, set strong boundaries, which we know we all need, and build lives that actually fit. And as a single mom and business owner, she knows firsthand what it takes to grow without burning out, and she's here to help you do the same. So welcome, Jessica.
Well, hello. So happy to be here. I'm glad we got to make this work.
Yes, me too. Me too. I'm super excited to have you here. And I would love for you to start with Jessica. With first, we said we are going to talk a lot about in this podcast episode about facing your fears.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to hear like what got you into speaking about this subject.
Well, I think a lot of it's facing your fears, but you're also, a lot of times your fears are your excuses. And there, we go, oh, I'm afraid of it, but really you're not afraid of it. It's just something else that you can, by saying oh, I'm afraid of that, it's almost makes it have a stronger hold on you than if you say, so like, for example, oh, I don't have enough time. Really, do you not have enough time, or are you afraid of the change that will come in your time if you were to start this new project or take time for yourself, which is the big one? Start going to the gym. Oh, I just don't have time. Do you really not have time, or are you afraid of maybe taking time away from your children, from your job, from your spouse? So what really got me into speaking about it, though, was I was full of excuses. Tons and tons. I worked, when I was pregnant with my daughter's 16 now, I was already an esthetician, but I was working 3 jobs. I was finishing 2 degrees. I'm, getting through all of this. And I always thought that to be busy was like this huge, I was going to get this big badge of honor. It was going to make me more amazing, but yet I wasn't really accomplishing anything. I mean, the bills are getting paid, and I got a couple degrees that, by the way, I do nothing with. They're pretty. They hang on my wall. I do nothing with them. But really what it was when I got to a point, actually, I think was I 40? And when I turned 40, I called my sister, who's my nurse practitioner. And I said, you know what? I think it's probably time to just see where I'm at health-wise. Let's just do some blood tests. Let's do all these things. Just let's see where I'm at. Because I'm like, I'm running top speed. Things are good. Let's just, life is great. Let's just see where I'm at health wise. So she ran all these tests and she called me. She goes, there's a little problem. I said, really? She goes, yeah, you're going to have a heart attack. And I was like, excuse me? I'm 40.
Ooh.
I'm great. I can handle all these things. And she's like, yeah, your cortisol levels are through the roof and you're going to have a heart attack. And I was like,
Ooh.
oh, oh, so that's the badge of honor I get. Great.
Mm.
But then being able to absorb that and then go, what do I need to do to change that is so scary. Because what I was doing was working for my business, it was working for my family. I thought it was working for me, but obviously without me doing the work, and if I had a heart attack, none of the other things could happen. And so I went on this big kind of path of exploration on what I needed to do to be able to, you know, not have a heart attack at 40. What's that going to look like? And a lot of it, like that was a huge fear and that was a real fear. But what
Hmm.
did I need to finally face? And what excuses and what limitations did I put on my life? And where did I push it too far to allow myself to get to that place in 40 short years?
Mm. So it sounds like that was your like wake up call.
So much. It was
Mm.
something's got to change and everything's got to change.
Mm, yeah, and we hear so much that people change when they're rock bottom, when there is so painful to continue the same, you know? And what I would love for us to share today with the audience is like how they can create those changes, those shifts in their life without getting to the rock bottom while like preventing the rock bottom. So
Yep.
what would you share with the audience
Well, so
for
I think
them to start making those changes?
I really think the biggest thing is that a lot of times you hit these big moments and you think, I have to make the biggest changes ever. And the
Mm.
reality is you're already stressed and you're like, I'm going to change my whole life tomorrow.
Or
And
right now.
it has to be this second. It's those people who wake up on New Year's Eve and go, or, New Year's Day, I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to the gym every day,
Yeah.
all these things. And then it lasts about 3 days because the stress, all of that change is just as heavy as what you want to change.
Hmm.
So, what I had found that worked the best for me was picking tiny, tiny, tiny changes. And they almost seem insignificant initially. And so people are like,
Mm.
you really just did that? I'm like, yeah, I woke up 15 minutes earlier so I could drink my coffee hot.
Mm.
It doesn't seem huge, but the fact that I
Hmm.
had that time to sit quietly. And then when I really had to dig into, the big self-care that we all think is a luxury, I actually I couldn't find space or value in it yet to just be like, I'm going to go take a 2 hour bath. I'm just going to go read a book for 3 hours on the patio. No, I have a hammock that I still barely sit in because I'm always like, I'm going to go sit in that hammock. But because it's at
One
my house,
day.
right? It's at my house and I have other things that I can be doing. So what I found I actually had to do was take something once a week, nothing more than that, nothing overwhelming. And I would go do when I first started, it was like the infrared sonics. It's 20 minutes.
Hmm.
Go somewhere and I had to pay for it.
Mm.
Because if I paid for it, I've committed to it because I've worked really hard for all that money for it. And then I felt like if I was paying for it, what, and this is going to sound weird, but it wasn't as much as of a luxury as laying around in my hammock
Mm. It
because
wasn't.
it actually fit in my schedule and it was like a bill that was paid. So it was still something I could, in my mind, wrap around the idea that I was paying for it. I don't want to waste someone else's time. And I can't do anything else just sitting, like I'm not just sitting at home. So I found that was the best thing, but I had to book it out. I had to book out like 4 weeks at a time. Because if I only booked out one week, I might not do the next week.
Okay.
So I did every week. And really, the biggest part is do not overcommit to this, to time wise. Pick something that's very small, that's very short. Even if it's, I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee for myself and sit in this coffee shop to drink that cup of coffee. I'm not going to sit on my phone, or maybe you are going to sit on your phone, which is okay because maybe you don't have time just to scroll
Scroll.
through, see what your friends are doing. But maybe you go and you're like, these are my 20 minutes. Like, I think the biggest problem I have seen with the women I work with is that they overcommit and they go, I don't have time for any of this. I'm like, you don't have 10 minutes? And they go, oh, I have 10 minutes. That's really all it takes to change. Because as you
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes, and now every day you get to drink your coffee hot. Then you do that for a couple weeks, and then maybe you go, maybe you want to start journaling, or maybe meditating, or maybe even just going for a walk. Everyone assumes also going for a walk has to be like 18 miles. Just walk 3 blocks and come home. Because now you've been outside and you did that, and you fit that in your 10 minutes, and you came home and that was just yours. And I feel that we just all try to take, especially as women and entrepreneurs and moms, we're like, I got to take on the biggest project out there so everyone sees how hard I'm working and what a good job I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Yeah,
And
and where is that coming from? Because I was speaking about that with someone else the other day, and it was coming almost as if for us, for women to be validated. Like the more I do, because we associate that the more I do, the better I am, the more of a good girl, because it comes from the good girl syndrome. No.
yep,
And
worthy.
then and I'm worthy and just waiting for that approval and validation from others.
And it's this mystical or magical badge of honor we think we're going to earn somewhere, and people will love us more, and our house will apparently be cleaner than the neighbors who will probably never see it. But, we think,
Yeah.
oh, there's our self-worth. We're piling in laundry and dishes and driving the kids to 18 sports they don't actually need to or want to be in. And I'm going to be the one who bakes everything and does this and does that. And
Mm-hmm.
you see all these women and they're so burnt out.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's exactly what I'm seeing. Like so burned out because they try to do everything to the T. And I was just having a conversation with a friend, and she was like, but like for me, for example, she's very into like health and eating healthy and homemade food. Yeah. And she's like, but I have to do everything from scratch, and like cook everything at home and give them like the lunch and everything at school because that's very important for me. So
right.
what do you do when, like, what would you share with this woman that go into these extremities of like, nobody has to be and look in a certain way, and then they totally neglect themselves and their well-being because they do everything for the household and for the family and work.
So I would say you have to, and this isn't a should, you have to find 15, 30 minutes one time a week. And I know people can find one time a week that you are doing something that is only for you. Like everyone's going to benefit from it, but that's not the intention. Everyone's going to benefit when, mom feels better and when
Yeah.
mom is rested. But going in and getting it done just for you. So, like, I do Brazilian waxing mostly at my spa.
Hmm.
That's what I've done for 20 years. And that is for you. Like, I have some people come in and go, oh, it's my husband's birthday, or, my partner, blah, blah, has been asking me to do it. And I said, okay, this time it's for them. Next time it's for you. And they come in and they're like, this really is for me. I'm like, yes. I go, other
Hmm.
people benefit, but really it's for you. It's so that you feel good in your body. It's something you like to do for yourself. and no one else gets to really share in that. I mean, like I said, they benefit in it. Other people might
Mm-hmm.
benefit, but this is something they're doing for themselves that you're not sharing with. Like if I baked myself a whole bunch of cookies, I'm probably going to give some to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not
Yep.
going to eat all yourself, but like getting your hair done, that's really for you. So when you look in the mirror, you go, I like what I see, you know, or going to do this sauna, sitting in there and you go, oh, my body just feels better. My
Mm-hmm.
mind feels quiet. Like those things for yourself, they're non-negotiables. And we've been taught that they are negotiable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And why would you say it's important for women to do that? And especially like I would love for you even to speak to the single moms because I know there are a lot of single moms out there and it's like no freaking way as a single mom that I would have time for anything at all. Like I see moms with like, with husbands that don't have time for everything, anything. What can I say about single moms?
right. So I will say, since I've started taking better care of myself, I actually have more time on my hands. Because
Mm,
as you start to actually do these things for yourself, especially as a single mom, I have to mow my yard and pick up the dog poop and, do all the laundry and pay all the bills and make sure. And in the business I'm in, if I don't go to work, I don't get paid. Like if I don't
mm,
physically do the work, I don't get paid. And then my daughter is 16. She's on the swim team. So we go to swim meets and, these different things. But I found that first, when I realized I didn't have to say yes to everything, I don't have to be the mom. I can't. My house isn't big enough to host team dinners. So at first, I was like, oh, we got to find a way to do team dinners. I can't do that. And then I thought, no, I'll figure something else out
mm,
to be helpful. So I do breakfast when they go on the road, but I can do that on my own time. Now I don't have to squeeze that into a time frame that they've given me.
mm,
So I think for single moms, though, I think the biggest part is that we are taking on both parts. I mean, any single parent, single dad, single mom. And I'm literally an only parent. My daughter she has nothing to do with her biological dad. We terminated his rights years ago. It's her and I. I have a great support system. My parents are amazing. I have amazing sisters. I have amazing friends. So I always have had a very good village, but it's still my home. I still have to take care of the home and the business and, the child. But once I found that I actually started taking care of me, I was better at all of it. And it made it easier for me to say no to the things that were draining me to a point that were making me sick.
mm.
So at first I said yes to everything because I had these other young moms and they'd be like, oh, my kids are in swimming and golf and blah, 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 blah. And I would feel like I said, oh, I can't do that. I couldn't really afford to do that. And I finally looked at one of the girls one day and it just came out and it wasn't very nice. But she was like, oh, my son's in this and this and this and this. What's your daughter in? And I said, nothing because I like spending time with her. And it was kind of snarky. It actually, when I left, I was like, but she's right. I am right. Like, I don't want to put her in all those things because she doesn't want to be in them. I can't afford to put her in them. So I just feel bad about it. And then if her and I just hang out together and we have dinner and watch a movie and, you know, that
Ah,
was way better anyways.
mm,
But our kids also don't always need to be busy. I think that's the
mm.
other thing a lot
Oh,
of kids make that mistake is they wake up in the morning and then maybe because here we only have one ice rink. So like our ice skaters are skating at like 5 in the morning before school. So then they go to school, then maybe they have an after school sport and then they have homework and then where do you fit in the other stuff and why would you try to fit in more?
mm,
And so I think maybe part of what needs to happen is like when you clean your garage out and you lay everything out and you go, what don't I need anymore?
mm,
I think that is what almost has to happen with our lives because we collect the things we have to do. Oh, I have to do laundry. I have to cook. I have to say yes to PTO. I have to do this. I said I'd do this for the neighbor and I always take this kid here. And then where do you get to a point that you've collected so much stuff and so many responsibilities that maybe aren't even yours, that you don't have time to take care of the person who's carrying it all.
Yeah.
And so when do you finally lay it all out and go, okay, I can't take your kid to sports anymore. I can't do it. Or I can't be the mom that does bake sales every week. Where do you draw that line? You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to give it all up at once either, though.
Start slowly. Start
Start
slow.
very small, very small. So it's almost like you don't miss it. Like, here's this one little thing I don't need.
Mhm. For example, how you were saying, like start saying no to one of the things, no, like one of the activities, like one change at the time, instead of how you mentioned that people try at the beginning of the year that I'm doing it all, making it all of the changes, and they cannot sustain not even one of them because it's just impossible. We are not meant to change everything at once.
No, and our body is used to habits and you
Mm.
do what it's comfortable in. You can't just wake up the next day and be a totally different person with a totally different life. Like it just doesn't happen as humans. We
Mm.
have habits and we have things we already enjoy and things we don't like. And, we've created this person we are. And we're not going to wake up
Mhm.
tomorrow and be like, well, now I'm going to be, I'm going to do all this. But you've built your foundation here. So it's,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and you would you say this is one of the ways to face your fears when it comes to making changes? Yes, because we all, I would say each and every one of us, we have things in our life that we know like I should change. I need to make a change there. Like something needs to shift. I was just like talking about that because I've been going through a lot of changes, and I think I'm one of those extremes ones, who goes through big changes in a lot of areas, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But would you say that's one of the ways for people to face their fears and their excuses?
I think it's going to be doing the little tiny things at once. Because, say, you want to move to a whole new place, you're not going to just one day wake up and walk out of your house and be on a plane and leave because you have built this whole life. You're going to go, okay, maybe I need to start getting rid of a few things. Okay, maybe I need to start doing research on this place, maybe that I want to go. Maybe I need to see what job opportunities there might be. And and those don't seem huge, but when you pile them together, now you know that maybe you have a job there and that you like this location there. And you've started getting rid of the things that you've accumulated in another place. You're going to slowly build yourself a foundation to make that change
Mm-hmm.
without just, like I said, walking out of the door, locking it, and being like, with all my stuff, I'm done. And I'm just starting all over because that's scary. But if
Yeah.
you can slowly move into your change, and I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
go so slow because some people go so slow, they're like 20 years in, but you don't have to do it tomorrow. You don't have to do it next week. Excuse me. You don't have to do it next month, but you have to be working on something that will get you to that space.
Yes. And for you, Jessica, you also mentioned how, okay, you used to work three jobs, constantly being busy, to now ended up opening your spa. And you've been in this for 20 years, over 20 years. This did not happen overnight that you're like, that's it, I'm opening a spa, I'm like having my own business. But how was that progression for you to make the changes necessary to be able to open a business from being an employee?
So what's interesting, because everyone's path is different, and I looked at people in my industry who are able to open, they get out and they get out of school and maybe they are able to open a spa right away. They have a little more financial backing. They have maybe a little more experience in running a business. Maybe came from a corporate world. Um, so I had moved around a lot and then I moved back here and I thought, well, it's time to settle down. So I bought my house and my friend was like, do you want to come work for me? She was doing my hair. She goes, I think I'm going to she was opening a spa. all right, I guess I better go get my license. Like I literally fell into my job. I had no intention of ever doing this because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm like, yeah. So I said, I'll go get a skincare because you had to be licensed at least as an esthetician in Wyoming to be able to do makeup. And I was like, okay, sounds good. I'll go get that. So it's 3 months. I went and got it, started working for her. I did know right away that I wanted like extra training. So we went and got extra training on waxing because I said, if you want me to offer this, no one else in town is doing this. I have no one to learn from. So I went and got training. It only lasted about a year with her. Like, she's a lovely person. We did not work well together. So, but at that point, I'd built up some clients. And I was like, well, I got to do something. So I just bought a wax pot. A friend of mine had a little tiny studio, rented it to me for $75 a month. And so I just took my clients. I didn't have a lot of overhead. So I was just waxing and I got, and then it must have been a couple, like 2000, like I'd been doing it for 2 or 3, maybe 2 years, maybe three. And I decided to move to another town. I was like, I'm just going to drop everything. I'm going to move to this other town and I was going to finish and get my cosmetology. Well, a couple weeks in there, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is so not for me. But I'd had a lease there. I stayed for a year. I came back. No one was still doing waxing. And so I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter. And I was bartending and cocktailing, and I was like, oh, I better get a real job, a real job. So I got a job at a
Mm-hmm.
gas company working because they had great insurance. And that lasted about 18 months because like I couldn't live on the money I was getting paid. Like there was just no way. And my boss had even slipped at one point and said, yeah, this was built as a supplemental job, like for when their husbands make more money. And I was like, no husband. So I was
Not
like
the
waxing at lunch still. I was still kind of, filling in. I was bartending a little and I was waxing at lunch. And then I was like, there was quite a few days I made more waxing at lunch than I did my whole day at this other job. So I was like, in 45 minutes, I'm making more money than I'm here. So I put in my notice and people thought I was crazy. I'm like, I'm gonna open a waxing studio. I don't not a lot of overhead. I already have pretty good clientele base. And everyone's like, you're crazy. No one's going to want to do that. And I'm like, we'll see. Like, that's kind of just how I'm like, whatever. Oh, but as it slowly progressed, like, I didn't just jump out of school and start a business. So I did, but I started really small. I rented a room. All I needed was my wax pot. The room was furnished. I didn't have any overhead. And so I slowly built, and then a friend of mine I went to school with was like, hey, I'm opening this place over here. I'm just looking for someone to rent it with me. So it was perfect. She did nails, I did hair. Well, and Heidi. So, Heidi.
yes.
So we worked together for 12 years and then but it slowly built. And then
Mm.
it was about 2019 and I was like, something's got to change because I was so busy. I was seeing probably 100 clients a week. I didn't have anyone to refer clients to. And I was like, what do I do? And then the world shuts down. And I was like, okay, I guess I got to figure something out. Um, and so it just slowly built. And then I talked to my parents into going in on buying a building with me. Um,
No.
so we bought the building and we opened in 2023. I hired my first employee in 21 in the fall of 21, I think. Um, just because I had such a wait list, but I slowly built it so that
Mm.
when I moved into this new location, I already had the people to fill it. Because had I walked into this brand new, beautiful building and been like, hey, come to me, I'd have all this overhead. And waxing's a very slow clientele base to build.
Mm.
People can only come to you once a month. So
Yep.
you have a very large clientele to stay busy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's, and it's taken me to, 18 years to get to that point because I took some detours as we're supposed to. But I think I feel more, and I know that I feel more stable in this position than had I just walked out and been like, I'm going to open this
Mm.
place because I didn't,
Mm.
though one of my degrees is in business, it did not teach me anything.
Yeah, it's just the theory, not the practice of it.
Exactly. So I'm glad I
Mm.
started very small with just me doing cash and
Mm-hmm.
paper, and then you slowly, because the idea had I looked at my business, I would have been like, oh, I can't do this. I can't jump into QuickBooks and accountants and lawyers and oh my gosh. So I started writing it all by hand and doing my own taxes and then finally getting QuickBooks like a few years in. So I think that's really the key with anything is take the bite you know you can take and then you will take another. You don't, what do they say with you can't eat an elephant whole?
Yeah.
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 It's
Well, yeah, and it sounds like it was so meant to be, no, for you. It's like the path was just like taking you there and opening up. And I also what I got from what you shared, Jessica, is that you also didn't like rush or strive, like I want a salon, like a spa, and I'm just like gonna just go for it, It just felt like you allowed things to happen and then you just took the next step slowly and surely.
Yep, I just waited till I felt confident where I was at, and then I was like, okay, what's the next?
Mm,
And some people
mm,
are built like that. Some people can build these big, beautiful, right away. I think majority of humans, we are not built to take on that much stuff and
mm.
live a happy, healthy life.
Yeah, yeah, because what happens if I think a lot of times if we try to go the other way, like fast, and I have to achieve it as fast as possible and get there, I think we also lose the joy along the way. And then it's all about the destination. And then you forget and you lose yourself along the way.
Well, and I think that you get to the mountain. You just go, oh, look, I reached the top of the mountain. Oh, great. How was the travels? Well, I don't remember. Like,
Hmm.
that's kind of a
Yeah.
boring life. You get to be 100 and they're like, how was your life? You're like, I don't know, but look what I built. Like,
Yeah.
I can't tell you one
Yeah.
other memory other than just the work I did.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's just not as I just think as humans, we're here to experience each other and the world and nature and traveling and not just working for something that in the end really isn't going to matter in the long. I mean, and now with social media, people are like, they forget things within hours almost.
Hmm.
People are trying to keep up as humans with the algorithm. Like, I got to keep changing and keep getting likes and all these things. And you're like, just slow down, grab a coffee or a tea, and just go watch the sunrise. Like, just sit and don't produce anything for 10 minutes.
Hmm.
And
Yeah. Enjoy the
don't,
small pleasures of
yeah.
life.
Well, and
Yeah.
I know people look at that like a luxury, like, oh, I wish I had time for that. Remember that most of you probably spend more than 10 minutes on your phone. So there are 10 minutes of every day, for the most part, that you could spend doing something peaceful, non non-physically productive, like you're not building something that you could just spend being. And that
Mm.
right there is going to be what heals you.
Mm.
Because
To
those
just
10
be.
minutes and those 10 minutes will grow into maybe 15. And maybe they grow into 20. And then maybe someday you end up with a whole hour to yourself a couple times a week. So
Yeah, it's definitely possible. And
it
Jessica,
is,
I would love to
it
hear
is,
from
but
you, like also what does spirituality means for you?
I think it means for me in particular, it's so much of my existence. Like, I'm a little religious, I'm a little spiritual. I believe we have to be out in the earth that was created. We are all connected. And I really feel that if we lose that idea that we're all connected somehow, that's when we lose humanity. Spirituality has so many meanings for so many different people, but I think finding that peace within yourself brings you closer to the divine, brings you closer to your creator, whatever it is that you are needing to connect to. I feel that if we can be in silence, we can be out in nature, we can be even connected with other people in moments that aren't work. We actually, I know I feel just more connected to myself, to
Mm-hmm.
the world when we go hiking. And yeah, it's kind of a workout, but when I'm done, I feel like I'm closer to everything that's bigger than me.
So you, in short, you would say that for you, spirituality means peace and connection, connection with self and the divine.
And the divine, yes.
Beautiful. Do you have any final words or any practical things that you would like to share with those that are listening on how they can face their fears and release their excuses to live a more aligned life, more present, more in touch with who they are?
I would say pick one thing that you want to change. One. Nothing big, because if you're brand new, you don't want big. If it's that I want to sit and drink my coffee, or hey, I want to read more books. Maybe let's take that as an example. I want to read more books. Every day, just give yourself a little bit of time to read 10 pages. Nothing more. Don't go overboard. Don't be like, I'm going to get through this book this week. Be like, every day I'm going to read 10 pages. And maybe you read two in the morning and two in the afternoon and two in the evening. But set yourself a goal that's achievable, but also that's not going to feel like it's being taken away from all your other responsibility. But what I would say is pick something today, like pick something. Don't go, oh, tomorrow I'll pick something. Today, go, I've been wanting to walk more. Starting today, I'm going to start walking the 3 blocks. Nothing more, nothing huge. You're going to get back and go, I probably could have done more than that, but it doesn't matter. You did the 3. And then tomorrow, don't go do 1.5 miles. Be like, I'm just going to do my 3. Maybe you do 5 if you really, but try to keep them kind of small as you're building a new habit. You
Mm.
don't want to wear yourself out or burn yourself out adding a new chore to your list that's also exhausting you, because
Yeah.
when you start working out, now you got to change your eating and probably buy new gym clothes and drinking
And
8
and
and so go for a 3 block walk, read 10 pages, pick something very small that is still very achievable, but in the direction you would like to be pointed.
yes, beautiful. Thank you, Jessica, so much for coming
Yeah.
on and for sharing your experience and your wisdom with all of us. I was a pleasure having you on and reconnecting with you.
I loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone for listening. You can connect with Jessica. I'll add her social media on in the show notes, so make sure you connect with her. And for those that are interested to go deeper into working with Jessica, you work with women, no, mainly.
I do. I work with women mainly. I've worked with a few men, but because I am a woman, I am a single mom and a business owner. Those are the women I tend to attract into
Mm-hmm.
but not saying that's all I take. It's just who I tend to attract
To
into my work.
attract. So make sure you reach out to Jessica and share with us what is it that resonated with you from this episode. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Spiritual Changemakers podcast. To stay connected and help us reach more people like you, please subscribe, follow, and leave a comment. Join our community of spiritual changemakers on social media to connect with like-minded individuals and continue the conversation. Remember, the power to create positive change is within you. Keep showing up as your best self, and let's keep the magic of change alive. Until next time.